Hail adventurers, my name is Defi and welcome to my solo D&D playthrough series titled The Fates Reroll. This is a semi-randomly generated series which is accompanied by narration, images, sounds and animation. For this series I'll be using the core rulebooks from D&D 5th edition, which includes the Player's Handbook, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and Xanth's Guide to Everything, as well as the minor books like Sword Coast's Adventuring Guide. Also, I'll be using the Solo Adventurers Toolbox Part 1 and Part 2 to generate the foundation for the story and other elements of the adventure. Images will be from Night Cafe and Hotpot, both AI image generation sites, and maps will be from sites Incarnate and Dungeon Fog. I will be writing this story as we go. Also, I will include footage of real-time rolls and include which table I am using from the Toolbox module. It will be listed as TSAT, the Solo Adventurers Toolbox, and what page number, like this example here. So let's begin. This is our world map, our region that our heroes will be exploring. I used Incarnate to make it, using a feature called the World Map Generator. I also applied the hex grid, as marking travel will be easier, but I will explain travelling when we get there. First we roll a d12 to see what month it is currently. Roll a 4, making it April, so it's mid-spring. From here we now mark where our heroes are going to start. I have divided the map into 4 sectors, and we roll a d100. 1 to 25 is northwest, 26 to 50 is northeast, 51 to 75 is southeast, and 76 to 100 is southwest. We roll a 35 with 5 d20s, landing up in the northwest. We now decide which side of the top left we start, either on land or on the water. We roll a 1d20, 1 to 10 we start on land, 11 to 20 we start in the sea, and if we get C, we'll roll another d20 deciding which side, north or south. With an 18 we start in the sea, and with an 8 we are on the most northern patch right here. The sun rises, like the turn of a page, signalling the start of the events to come. A passenger ship, no bigger than the commercial ships the world's traders use. On the side is a brass nameplate, murky with rust, but clear enough to read out the name Pegasus. On the bow is 2 people, a hobgoblin rogue by the self-titled name Gan the Thief, wearing a mixture of common clothing and red leather armour. The outstanding features is the red leather hood he wears and the uncommon sound of his accent. The second is a fair, complex, red-haired female Shadakai called Halana, wearing full black scaled armour and a black sheathed longsword on her hip. There is an unusual presence about her. Something sinister emanates from her blade's covering, as red runes pulsate through the thick layers. To the most common elvish readers, it spells out Blackfire.
Wow, look over there. About time this journey was finished. Man, 2 weeks at sea could break a guy.
True enough, my friend. You think we're finally free?
We should be. I mean, we're lucky that wasn't a final heist. I'm still wondering who ratted on us. All the king's horses and all the king's men, just after 2 little old thieves like us.
Well, if you weren't so possessed to steal from corrupt nobility to criminal kingpins, we would all be living in peace to some degree.
Well, stealing from ordinary folk just isn't a challenge. If I'm gonna be a master thief, I need to be able to steal from master criminals, no? And besides, your little butter knife is our godsend guiding us.
True enough. Be me the damned, follow my instructions and burn them into your memory, and I will give you power and insight. Simple trade if you ask me. Well, this is our second chance, So let's start new. The ship carries her precious cargo closer and closer to its destination, with each lap of brine-stained waves hitting against her underbelly. The sounds of flying seabirds and the bustling crowds draw louder and louder. A voice is heard behind them. Attention passengers, we will arrive at Driftwood within the hour. Please go below deck and gather your belongings. I repeat, please go below and gather your things. Driftwood Port, a commercial hub for this part of the region, the only sea route connected to the northern continent. It's more a mercantile town rather than a residential hotspot. Traders from all corners either pass through or stay, only to peddle and send off their wares. The buildings are as tall as masoners dare. The harbour is riddled with vessels, small and big, of different classes and different reasons. Fishermen's boats to high-class galleons. The bay is wide and far as the horizon which hides the sun. Blacksmith, jewelers, artisans and taverns aplenty. With the Pegasus docked and the passengers leaving, the captain gives a noble tip of the cap and gives Gan and Helena directions to the nearest tavern, telling them to watch out for a sign with an anvil surrounded by fire. The two depart the ship, and following the captain's directions, they arrive at a tavern short of a 10-minute walk from the harbour. They spy the sign, an anvil surrounded by fire. The burning anvil, it says underneath. They walk into the bar, and the first thing that hit them is a dense smell of something metallic and smoke. Around them is a few tables of men and women of different races, each in leather overalls or some kind of uniform. Cheering and laughing can be heard, and through that they hear small clippings of how well they worked that day or hit some kind of jackpot deal. They walk to the bar. They're treated with a warm welcoming smile from the barmaid. Hello there. I don't recognize you two. New to the region, are you?
Yeah, we are. We just came into the docks about 15 minutes ago. The captain of the Pegasus gave us directions to come here.
Oh, aye, him. He's always sending people here. I welcome the customers, but as you can see, we're not exactly the touristy type. So, where do you hail from? Before Gan gives his answer, now is a good example to showcase the Q&A mechanic. Since we can't fully influence the choices our characters make, we will roll on the Q&A result table. 1 to 6 is no, 7 to 12 is maybe, and 13 to 20 is yes. However, there is modifiers that we can add which will be influenced by the event. This is impossible at -6, highly unlikely -4, unlikely -2, possible 0, likely +2, highly likely +4, and certainly +6. So, with Gan and Alana being wanted criminals from their dialogue on board the ship, we will use the unlikely feature, which will be a -2. Gan looks over towards Helena for some kind of guidance, a nod or a shake of the head. She just shrugs her shoulders, as in do what you will.
We come from the northern continent of Antarctica. It's bloody cold this time of year, so that's why we're here. Hoping for some warmer weather, also some adventuring work if possible.
Antarctica, eh? Well, you two got out at the right time. A couple of days ago, a sailor was in here, and he said that the Antarctica Navy puts a blockade around the nation. No one in and no one out. Something to do with a nationwide manhunt. Well, it ain't my business. Anyway, allow me to be the first to welcome you to the Hex Star Isles. We call it that because the 6 islands look like a star and in the shape of a hexagon. This island is called Fateria. We got a few towns here and there, and all connected to the capital via the Bronze Road. Anyway, you don't want to hear me flap my gums all evening. What do you want to drink? I'll bring it over, and it's on the house as well. She gives a little wink and a cheery smile. Gan and Helena both order a couple of drinks before sitting at a table right at the back of the tavern. The smell of coal and smouldering iron is strong as they make their way past. Friendly town here. I guess we're safe, but I think we should stay a little cautious. And now is a great bit of news. Seems Emperor Valorius and his toy soldiers are preoccupied.
Yeah, that'll give us some breathing space. Maybe we can give up at a certain point. Well, let's not dwell on that. We have to find some work. We only have a few gold each, and I don't fancy getting my fingers filthy just yet.
We now roll on the quest generation table. We roll a D100 to generate what kind of quest awaits us. First we roll on the quest source. Where did we hear it? What's our starting point? With an 85, it says orders from higher command, guild or society. From afar perhaps. Now we roll what kind of quest it is. It's another D100 roll. "79 tells us that we must protect a worthy creature's life and eliminate some kind of threat. We will also roll some keywords to help us construct this quest as well. We got familiar, gamble, sleep, and diversion. Savouring the well-earned drink after days toiling upon the waves, Gan and Alana thought they would finally have a night's peace. It was until a black raven flew in through the entrance to the tavern. Patrons were screaming and laughing as the bird darted through the tables and customers. The barmaid was squealing from the back of the bar, hunching down. The bird flew in circles until it lands on Gan and Alana's table. In its beak is an envelope. Halana reaches for it, and when she grabs it, the raven flies back out of the tavern in a hurry. Drinks were thrown and chairs were toppled over. It was like a scene from the circus. Halana looks at the envelope. Just your run-of-the-mill normal envelope. On it was a blue seal. The design looks to be something of a warped hand. Opening it and reading to herself, the letter was in a funny construction. No words or simple letters, just shapes and off-center lines. I can't read this. It's just mumbo jumbo. No words, letters, or anything mostly related to any of the common languages. And I thought Elvish was the most complex to read.
Let me have a look. Ah, no wonder. Only people of a certain trade can read it.
Gun leans over and whispers,
"It's in Thieves' Cant. I'll read it."
"We know who you are, but don't be alarmed. Let's say we are friends of a friend. We know the situation you two are in, and we might be able to help you out, but not for free. You know how things go. Come to the abandoned warehouse on Marine Avenue if you wish to discuss things. Meet our representative there in 10 minutes before the sun sets. You can choose not to, of course, but if you stay in these lands, you won't be as free as you think. Signed, the Sapphire Hands." Friends of a friend? We've never heard of this group before. Damn it. Well, what do you think?
Well, we don't have much of a choice, do we? Well, let's at least go and see what they have to offer.
Gan and Alana hastily finish their drinks and set out outside the tavern, steeling themselves of the encounter they were going to have. Multiple scenarios were going through their head, planning ahead in case of the worst. However, perched on a bench opposite the entrance was the same raven that dropped off the letter. With a caw of acknowledgement, it landed in front of the two and started to fly off in a direction at a slow pace, often looking back at the two. Helena realizes it wants them to follow it. They follow the raven as it takes them in and out of side streets. The crowds were slowly dying away as the light of the sun was transforming to a soft, dim glow which brought on the lunar scene. After a few minutes walking, they arrive at an empty and chilly, silent part of town. No one was around. Not a soul or sound could be identified. Just some crisp footsteps of the duo and the soft flaps of the nocturne wings of the raven. They arrive at their destination, and outside was a shadowy figure. Out of the shadows is a blue-skinned tiefling, wearing a blue cape, and most of his clothing is blue. But the most striking feature of it is the grin he wears. There is also an aura of magic about him, and also a sense of playfulness. Who this is, we'll have to wait until next time.